Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the WebCast on Monday, Columbus Day. Yeah, Columbus Day. Actually, it's tomorrow, but we celebrate it now. Kids around here go to school anyway. Post office, banks are all closed. They get the extra day off. How about this weather? If you live anywhere in the upper Midwest, you have been enjoying unseasonably warm weather. How unseasonably warm? The warmest day ever in Dubuque, Iowa. The other day, breaking a record of over 100 years. That was on Saturday. Yesterday was much the same. Today's going to be pretty good. And tomorrow it's actually going to be pretty nice all week long. A little bit of rain here and there. Farmers are moving along at an incredible rate. We'll probably have everything done sooner than ever. Even their prices went up, I saw. The limit on Friday for corn, which is 30 cents a bushel. So farmers are smiling, except for one problem. They're so darn tired from working day and night practically that they can't smile. So after they sleep a while, they'll be able to smile. All right, let's go to my favorite story of the day. This one is funny, folks. A guy, it was actually up in Wisconsin. Some guy was chasing a one-legged goose and ended up in some cold water, and they later figured it out he was really drunk. And you have to be to do something like this. It's out of Wausau, Wisconsin from the AP. Actually, I pull it out of the Telegraph-Herald online. Wausau authorities have rescued and arrested a drunken man who plunged into the Wisconsin River while chasing a one-legged goose. The 40-year-old told officers he wanted to catch the bird and roast it. He said he took off his shirt and shoes Thursday afternoon and jumped into the frigid water. Only one problem. A guy by the time he's 40 shouldn't be doing these things, by the way. Authorities said he was overcome by the cold water and had to be rescued by firefighters. Police said the man had been drinking heavily before the stunt. You'd almost have to be drinking heavily to do something like that. But that out of Wausau, Wisconsin. The weather was so warm he didn't realize that water was going to be cold. And he wanted to cook his goose, or at least the one-legged goose. He wanted it to be his goose. But as it turns out, he probably had to do a little jail time on that one, which is fine. He probably had it coming. But let's see what else is going on. A man from Dyersville, Iowa, was on a cross-country trek on a motorcycle, a Harley Davidson, and he arrived home over the weekend to Dyersville, Iowa. He had a big group of folks greeting him at the Field of Dreams near Dyersville. He hit 48 states. His name is, by the way, Tom Easygoin. How in the heck do you get a name like that and then pull a stunt like this? He arrived back in Iowa on Sunday afternoon to the cheers and well wishes of scores of people. Goins was trying to raise awareness, and I think he was successful in doing that, for the Americans living with disabilities. And Goins' mission is called PURPAL, P-U-R-P-A-L, which stands for People United Relieving Painful American Lives. The goal of his organization is to let others know their disabilities can be treated. So really, an interesting story, but a great story as well because of what this guy is trying to accomplish. And he ended up by quoting this. We quote this from him. I got to see a lot of beautiful places, beautiful people. When they find out what I'm doing, they tell me about their problems, what their ailments are. So he's easing a little pain of probably a lot of people. So our hats off to Mr. Tom Easygoin of Dyersville, Iowa. Today in history, let's take a look over there. It is celebrated here as Columbus Day. It's actually Thanksgiving Day if you're up in Canada. It was on this date that Theodore Roosevelt became the first former U.S. president to fly in an airplane. during a visit to St. Louis. Back in 1809, just over 3 years after the famous Lewis and Clark expedition ended, Meriwether Lewis was found dead in a Tennessee inn. An apparent suicide. I never knew this. He was only 35 years of age and decided to commit suicide. And in 1975, live from New York, it's Saturday night, the first time we heard that, as debut was the time, this day was a debut with guest host. Guess who it was? George Carlin. George Carlin was the first guest host on Saturday Night Live, and that has been a phenomenal program through the years. And our thought of the day, let's go to C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis said, "I gave in and admitted that God was God." I gave in and admitted that God was God. He was an intellect, you know. And intellects tend a lot of times to try to convince themselves that there is no such thing as a God. But this one came around and said, I admitted God was God. And that was from C.S. Lewis. And our thought and quote of the day here on WDDnews.com. I'm Randy Novotny, wishing you nothing but the very best. Hope you enjoy the photos that we kept rolling here for you. And, tell everybody about this so we can continue doing it. The WebCast here on WDDnews.com. Have a good one, everyone.